Good afternoon and welcome to the 2018 Wildfire Awareness Week here in Friant, Millerton Lake. With us today we have Jenna Walsh from Senator Berryhill's office. Welcome. Brett Rush, who is Chief of Staff for Supervisor Magzig, is here, along with Janine Figueroa, Assistant County CAO. I'd like to welcome you today. Over the last several years, the fire environment in Fresno County has changed quite significantly. The prolonged effects of the drought and tree mortality has caused us a great number of challenges. The above average rainfall and snowpack in 2017 helped relieve the drought, but the impacts are still felt with the tree mortality, the brush mortality, and the things that cause us a lot of issues out there in the wildland areas. Throughout the winter, CAL FIRE engines in Fresno County have worked over 8,500 hours on our fuel breaks in eastern Fresno County. We've treated over 807 acres of those fuel breaks this winter. And we have another 4,000 acres of fuel treatments planned for this coming fall in Fresno. Since 2015, the tree mortality, Fresno County Tree Mortality Group has removed over a quarter of a million trees from the tree mortality areas in Fresno County. Conditions in Central California from the valley floor to the foothills are getting worse every day, as you can see by the dry grass around us. We're ready to have fires. We're asking our citizens of Fresno County to do their part, get their defensible space done around those homes, so it gives the firefighters a chance to protect those homes when we do have a fire. The Fresno Kings Unit and its cooperators, both private and public, will continue to work together to reduce the impacts of wildfire in our communities, the residents and forests of Fresno County through cooperative fuel reduction, training, and public education in what is shaping up to be another busy fire season. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Bob Baird. He's the Director of Fire and Aviation Management in Region 5 for the U.S. Forest Service.
Thanks very much. Hi, good morning, or good afternoon, sorry. It's my pleasure to be here. My name is Bob Baird. I'm the Director of Fire and Aviation for the Forest Service for the Pacific Southwest region. That encompasses the entire state of California and the Pacific Islands. We manage over 20 million acres across the state and 18 national forests, but we don't do that alone. It's a complex partnership between our state, local government, and us and all the federal agencies that partner to help be leaders in this time of the season as it's beginning to brown up. As you see, the Golden State's getting golden again, and we're here to talk about how we can prepare this year to reduce the catastrophic loss of life and property this year with wildfires. Last year was a tremendously challenging season, and we have all expectations that this coming year will be the same way. We had the losses in Santa Rosa. We were there yesterday and saw the devastation of those communities. Today we were in Santa Barbara and near Montecito and Ventura and saw the challenges that happened through the winter all the way into the new year during the Thomas Fire, and then the destruction to the watersheds that occurred as a result of that catastrophic wildfire. We're trying to partner as much as we can to reduce that wildfire risk so when it does happen, it doesn't irrevocably destroy the watersheds as well as lives and property, so that we build a more resilient landscape. This year so far, the Forest Service has treated and mechanical and prescribed fire over 47,000 acres across the state. We're doing that but are still challenged with the dead standing trees in the tree mortality area in this region, and it continues to be a challenge. We've put more than $84 million over the past 2 years to try and remove the dead and dying trees. It's still a threat, and it still continues to be a threat this season. And so we're here cooperatively, both the federal, state, and local government, to look at collectively what can we do as a team. Using prescribed fire, there's a prescribed fire going on actually today. We can give you more details about that. But we need to get, that's on the Bass Lake District, we need to get better at using good fire instead of allowing the catastrophic wildfires that are destructive to the lives and property. And we look forward to participating. We also are actively involved in fire season as we speak. The Forest Service has 170 firefighters already in Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas supporting their fire season. The value that we bring as the federal workforce we can draw across the United States, as we did during the Christmas time, where we brought in wildland fire resources from 16 states, and the state even brought them in from Australia. So it's a large system, but it relies not just on our response, but on the public's awareness, the public's desire to help us prevent and reduce wildfire risk. And the public needs to be ready to evacuate. When we ask you to evacuate, we don't take that lightly. We need your support when we ask for an evacuation, that it's serious and there's life and property at risk. Also, we need the support so that when you do get that evacuation order, we talk about ready, set, go. In many cases, it's ready, go. We don't have time, or you won't have time to really prepare and make those hard decisions. So we ask that you do that prior to the season. You yourselves watch for the red flags. You yourselves are aware of what's coming on in the news and the weather, and can help us help you take care of wildfires this season. We don't want to put any one of these tremendous first responders or you at risk trying to manage evacuations as we're putting out ongoing wildfires. So we ask for your support, and we thank you for the support that you give us every day. With that, I'll be followed by Justin Caparuso, the Rural County Representative of California. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Justin Caparuso, and I'm with the Rural County Representatives of California, otherwise known as RCRC. Our organization advocates for legislative and regulatory priorities for California's 35 rural counties. Our mission is to improve the ability of small, rural California county government to provide services by reducing the burden of state and federal mandates through promoting a greater understanding among policymakers about the unique challenges that face California's small population counties. As you've heard earlier today from our previous speakers, California's forests are at serious risk of large, high-severity wildfires that threaten lives, communities, resources, wildlife habitat, recreation, and rural economies. There is an urgent need to restore our forests to a more resilient condition to protect our natural resources, communities, and our local economies. In response to this need, in 2014, RCRC partnered with the Association of California Water Agencies, also known as ACWA, the California Farm Bureau Federation, the California Forestry Association, and the Nature Conservancy in forming the California Forest Watershed Alliance, otherwise known as CAFWA. This alliance of odd bedfellows was formed out of a collective commitment to improving the health of California's forests and our watersheds. Healthy forests matter, not just to those living in and around those forests, but to all Californians who rely on clean water, clean air, recreational opportunities, and rural jobs. The impacts of forest wildfires on our water, energy, environment, and economy are felt by Californians throughout the entire state. The members of CAFWA are working together to seek new ways to promote proactive, science-based, and ecologically sound forest management practices that will reduce the risk of destructive megafires. The governor's executive order, released earlier this afternoon, addresses many of the solutions CAFWA has identified, and we thank him for his leadership and his action today. The strength of CAFWA's message is derived from the disparate voices collectively calling for change. And Wildfire Awareness Week is an opportunity to promote proactive, science-based, ecologically sound forest management practices that will reduce the risk of these destructive megafires. On behalf of my colleagues on the California Forest Watershed Alliance, I'd like to thank CAL FIRE for the opportunity to join them at this event today. I'd now like to call up Mr. Bruce Saito with California Conservation Corps.
Good afternoon. It's a beautiful day today, but I think as you're hearing and as all of you well know that these beautiful days can quickly turn into disaster or not so beautiful days. And of course, that's the reason for this Wildfire Awareness Week, that we are here to remind the public, as well as sometimes even educate for the first time, the importance of prevention work being done by local California and United States organizations and services that have started way long before this day. The price to do this kind of work is not monetary. It's the hours and hours of hard work it takes of prevention and preparation work that now is a year-round fire season. The CCC is part of that mission, and we're pleased to be a small but important part of this fabric of fire prevention network. Through the Save the Sierra program, some of the young folks that you see to my left here, we've worked with the forest and tried to remove a number of dead and dying trees, particularly in Shaver Lake area, not just this past year, but we just started again on this project this year as well. We have crews cutting down dead and dying trees up and down the Sierras. This is a program funded by AmeriCorps. CCC Corps members treated over 440 acres last year in the Stanislaus and Tuolumne National Forest in Tuolumne County, in the Sierra National Forest right here near Auberry and Shaver Lake in Fresno County, and in the Sequoia National Forest near Springsville in Tulare County. Corps members on this project work 8 straight days. They camp out in these rural, rustic conditions out in remote areas, and they buck dead and dying fell and buck and dead and dying trees. Some of them are here in the audience. I want to my hard hats off to Latoya Owens and her crew based out of our Los Padres Center in San Luis Obispo that, again, just started. This is their 5th spike where they work Wednesday to Wednesday, and they'll be continuing this work through November and December. Also, here's a Corps members and representatives from our Fresno satellite under the direction of Brenda Burks-Herman at our Monterey Bay Center. They have also been working on a lot of state responsibility areas, fuels project in the areas, not just this past year and not just for the summer to come, but for the last 3 or 4 years. And that work will continue with programs like was just described in the governor's announcement and executive order. That'll be more information in the May Revise announced tomorrow, that he's putting hard-earned dollars into these kinds of programs, as well as the programs he's already established in this budget cycle. So again, the California Conservation Corps is pleased to be a partner with the CAL FIRE, the United States Forest, and all the other organizations, local fire departments as well, to be here today and to work with all of you. I think with that, I would pleased to announce Tom Porter, Southern Region Chief, CAL FIRE.
Thank you, Director Saito. And welcome again to this stop on the Wildfire Awareness Week agenda. Friant is a place that we have been to before during the drought, and it's nice to see Millerton at the level it is. There was very little water in it last time we were here. So Wildfire Awareness Week is very important to us at CAL FIRE and through all of our interagency partners that you see behind me. This is an annual event. We come out, we spend all week traveling to all the corners and center parts of the state, talking with communities about wildfire awareness, what that means. We carry a message each year, and in many years that has been the Ready, Set, Go message. That's always there. This year it is fire defense is the best, is self-defense, excuse me. And I'll get further into that as we carry through this afternoon. But it's about self-defense. The fuels are starting to dry out. We had enough rain this past year to give us a healthy coat of grass, which you can see has all started to turn brown in this part of the state.
There are other parts that's still a little bit green, but we are right on that change in weather where we're going to start to see grass fires. And the important thing that has not changed in California is the heavy fuels. The heavy fuels, even with the rain that we had last year and then this current year, has not been enough to really dampen those large fuels to the core. And so what that means is this grass can easily light those large fuels very quickly, and fires can become large and uncontrollable in a very rapid manner. So that's something to remember. Also, Fresno County is really the epicenter of the tree mortality. And of the 129 million dead trees in the forest areas east of here, and then south and north, Fresno County really has had the brunt of a lot of that tree mortality. And it's important to understand too that those trees are very dry. They are right in that same fuel category that I was talking about. They can ignite very quickly from grass fires underneath their previous canopy areas. This is the new normal. Governor Jerry Brown has clearly articulated, and we as the state's fire department and representatives of the fire services in California all believe that the new normal is here to stay. And things that we've been doing, you've heard from some of my partners up here about what their agencies have done to increase the number of staff and the equipment and the capabilities to do pre-fire management treatment, to get ahead of wildfires and do the best things that we know we can do to reduce the catastrophic effects of those fires. So what the governor has done through budget change proposal approvals, so budget shifts for CAL FIRE and our contract counties, and then in some cases our local government as well, is to provide funding through grants for fuel reduction project work and forest health improvement work, purchase of specialized equipment for reducing heavy fuels through masticators and chippers, and then funding for staff to be on earlier in the season and later in the season in order to realize that we have a firefighting and response need that is longer than it was 10 to 15 years ago. So with all of that, those are the things that the state and federal government, as you heard previously, are bringing to the table. We are working hard on our pre-fire management and prevention. What we need is for you as Californians to take on your part, the self-defense. We need you to provide the defensible space around your homes, around your communities. Work for your family, work for your neighbors, work for your community to do the things that will harden your communities and prevent them from catastrophic losses during fires. So some of the things that you can and should do are the defensible space, harden structures in the form of make them ember cast resilient or resistant. That means so embers that are flying through the air won't intrude into attic spaces and those kind of things. And then develop a plan to evacuate. Make sure you have your important papers, your medications, your pets, your pet food, all of that stuff. You need a ready-to-go pack, because when the order comes, there isn't time to start planning for all of this. It's time to go. And we really do need you to go, and go early, so we can safely get fire engines and firefighting equipment and personnel into the fire areas without having traffic to slow them down, or, God forbid, accidents, which do occur on occasion during egress and ingress. So please do your part. We look forward to working and fighting fire this summer, wherever it takes us. Another thing that was referenced previously by Justin is that the governor signed an executive order and released that today. It is a forest management task force that has been created. The tree mortality task force that covers the Southern Sierras and 10 counties is being folded into a broader effort to look at forest health activities across the entire landscape of California. The intent is to develop more resilient forests to wildfire and future drought activities through increasing the pace and scale of prescribed burning, fuels treatments, and forest health activities. This is all predicated on the sequestration of carbon. We're trying to ensure that less carbon is going into the atmosphere and more of it is being held in the forest soils and forest canopy cover. The task force will be working across agency, state agency boundaries to streamline permitting processes, so it makes it easier to get projects approved. There will be increased efforts in utilization of science-based approaches to do that. There will also be the utilization or the active search for ways to utilize forest materials in building construction throughout California. We really want to encourage more locally grown California wood in California buildings. With that, and there are other elements of the plan which we can talk about, and you'll hear more about from the governor himself. But with that, I want to open to questions from any of the principals behind me at the podium here, and then once we conclude that, we'll be available for one-on-one interviews as well. Any questions?